Hello there. What's crack? I like it. Why do I always do that stupid ass face? Whenever I do it. Next times I do this, I'm making a stupid face. What's crack? Doesn't work with it. Alright. So I'm here today to talk about a movie film that originally I was going to do this review for Halloween Horror Month. But as I'm watching it, I'm like, do I really want to waste a spot on this? Because I'm getting low. I'm getting low. I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots left. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots left. But for catalog reviews, what this would be, older ones, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots for that left. And I still haven't made up my decision on what I'm going to do for the Thursday review, because what I've been doing is Lost in Translation ones. But after Dark Water, I'm kind of running on empty with those, because they're all just trying to mimic The Ring. Like, One Missed Call is the only one that's different from them, but you get like The Eye and Dark Water, and I'll even throw Pulse in there. And it's all about someone investigating something, and there's weird. It's it's The Ring, it's The Grudge, yeah. So I don't know if I'm doing Shudder or not, which is that's what I'm supposed to do. And then the last Thursday, I decided I'm not anything there. But anyway, I decided, like, I wasn't entirely sure. By the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna waste a slot on this, and it's a twofer, so there's that. So I'm just gonna do this now, and it's sequel today at some point. The Messengers is what I'm talking about, starring Kristen Stewart. From Twilight. This came out the year before Twilight, and a year after, I think, Zathura. John Corbett from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. William B. Davis, the cigarette smoking man from X-Files. Dylan McDermott from The Practice. My mom used to watch that back in the day. Penelope Ann Miller, who, to be honest, I didn't know. And then I'm like, as I'm watching, I'm going, she looks familiar. I know her from somewhere. Where? Where do I know? She is the Crisp's ex-wife. Can I speak English? Crisp's ex-wife from Kindergarten Cop. Yeah, it's her. I'm like, I know her. Yeah. And then Dustin Milligan, who throughout the film I kept making jokes. Because she says, like, oh, she moved there from Chicago. And I'm like, oh, yeah, and give a couple of years, I'm going to move to Beverly Hills. Yeah. I'm going to move zip codes and I'm going to move to Beverly Hills. I'm like, and then after that, I'm going to fight some evil sharks. Because he was also in Shark Night. I think he died in that one. Was he the guy? Was he also in the Piranha remake? No, he's married to Amanda Crew. Lucky bastard. Anyway, Butterfly Effect 2. Oh yeah, he's his buddy in that. Found it. Oh, that's he is in Final Destination 3, and you're going, he is? Yeah. Quick cameo, blinking you'll miss it. At the point after Wendy freaks out and she leaves, and a bunch of students start going, hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. He's the curly-haired one towards the front. Yeah, I noticed that years ago. I forgot to mention that. I don't know what Butterfly in Real was. The Messenger in the Land of Women. I want to talk about that sometime, because that's another Kristen Stewart film, by the way. Shark Night 3D. Was he not in the Piranha? Who am I thinking? I thought he was the boyfriend who gets his dick bit off in that one. Is that the second one? Or is that not even him? Hold on. I need to look it up. I need to go back to this though. Okay. I need to be able to hold on. No, there's no A in there. There we go. 3D. Alexander Aja, which they wanted to direct this film, by the way, but he was going to do the Hills of Eyes remake. So, I think I'm thinking of the sequel where the guy gets his dick bit off. Hold on. Who the hell is Matt Bush? Who is Matt Bush? Chris Zilka? Is that him? Hold on. Where is it? Josh. Who's Josh? Josh. Oh, Jean-Luc Blah. The guy from, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name, dude. The guy from Baby Daddy. And, what the hell is the name? I'm thinking of Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat. He's in that one. Yeah, Jean-Luc Bildow. Bildois? Dildo? No. That's it is. They look similar. They're both Canadian, right? Anyway, the story of this movie is a family moves to a farmhouse so that they can start growing their crop of sunflowers. Out of all the bullshit in this movie, that's probably the most unbelievable thing. I've never heard of anyone just farming sunflowers. Just sunflowers. I could see if sunflowers is something you're growing, but the whole crop is sunflowers. Why? When weird things start to happen, and then there's other things. So the opening of this movie is actually not bad. Though I did call it. Just everything that's happening, it's a woman, and she has a little child. I looked at this kid, and I'm like, what is the kid? Later, you get a better look at the kid, and I'm just like, that's a girl. But it's... So, this family is the Rollins family. There's John Rollins, who we learn about later, but then in the opening to this, it is, Mary Rollins, by Shirley MacLaine, Lindsay Rollins, who I picked out as Tatiana Maslany when she shows up. I'm like, that's She-Hulk. Yes, that's what I'm gonna know it from. Okay, what's her name? Wolf or something? What was her name? The character was a weird name in. Her name wasn't Wolf. There's about wolves in Ginger Snaps too. I forget her name. I'll have to look it up now, aren't I? Ghost, Wolf, Ghost. And then John Rollins, who we will meet later, and I called something with him. But anyway, there's some kind of weird thing that's presented as like a ghost sort of thing. And everything happened, and I called it. I'm like, it's her husband. It's gonna be her husband. It only appears to us like it's some weird supernatural thing, but it's her husband, isn't it? Because he's nowhere to be found, yet they talk about the Rollins family and she had a husband, and I'm just like, yeah, the way they keep talking about it later, it's like, it's gotta be your husband. It's now 5 years later, even though the beginning of this was in black and white for some reason. Now the Solomon family are moving from Chicago into the house near small town in North Dakota. Roy Solomon, played by Dylan McDermott, hopes to start a sunflower farm. And again, I have to put just sunflowers. You're not gonna have like pigs or cows or anything else that can help you. And they reiterate several times they have no monies, no human monies, and they need this crop to make the human monies. Sunflowers. Not even corn. Sunflowers. What? And I can't even blame the writer, because it said this was so. Todd Farmer is credited as the story writer, which is complete and total bullshit, because even he would tell you that rewrote his entire script. I'll go more into it with the sequel because I read the thing, but they basically took the script that he wrote and made this prequel out of it. They made it a prequel. Don't know why it couldn't just be an unrelated sequel, but they made it a prequel that doesn't make any sense with the backstory we get in this movie. So we'll get to it, because I read it. Oh, it's a prequel that's like, okay, it's telling. I looked at a little bit, telling the story. I'm like, but wait a minute, none of the backstory in this movie, because if you don't know, the sequel is called Messengers to the Scarecrow. There is no Scarecrow in this movie. It's never mentioned, because that's Farmer's original script that they just hacked away at, and now we have this. So anyway. So, from the get-go, you see there's something off about this family. They've moved here to get away from something. They keep mentioning the incident, but refuse to tell you what the incident is. It's clearly didn't know where in the film they wanted to put when it's revealed. You should have revealed it sooner, because they refuse to believe anything she says. And it's like, and even then, the connection there, once it is revealed what happened, it's like, but how does that make them not trust her? Like I understand something like that, you would trust someone, but it does not correlate to what they think she's doing at this point. So, I don't know. There is the incident, which they talk about through most of this film, and I'm sitting there, because I watched part of this during work, and I'm just like, okay, if you want us to understand the situation, you need to tell us what happened. You can't just keep having them not trust her, and us in the dark. We need to understand why they don't trust her. But it's never displayed like that, because we don't know what happened. So it's just, they don't trust her because of what happened. But we don't know what happened. So how do we know whether or not she can be trusted? But also, we see the things that happen when she's around. You know, there's stuff that happens. Right? And they make a point to say that the son, Ben, is mute. Though, not till later, where it's like, because he's a toddler, so he doesn't talk. And at one point she even says, I wish you could talk. And I'm like, well, he's a toddler. Also, this incident happened 2 years earlier, and I'm like, how old is this kid supposed to be? Maybe 3? By then he would talk, but I see him, I'm like, it's a baby. He doesn't talk. He's still in a crib at 3 years old. What child is still in a crib at 3 years old? By then you're in a bigger bed. It doesn't make sense. This happened 2 years. This incident happened 2 years ago. This kid looks like he's a year and a half years old. I guess I'm assuming the oldest he could be is 3. For this plot to make sense. Why is he in a crib? I don't know. Yeah. So, Also, also, it makes sense when we get to the. So, weird things start to happen around the house. Murders of crows. They used ravens, but in the script they're supposed to be crows, so they're called crows. And I'm like, those are some big ass crows. And then it's like, oh no, they used ravens. Then just call them ravens. It's like crossing out one word and saying the other, but it has to be crows because I don't know. There's no scarecrow in this, so I don't know. They attack Roy, but here comes John Corbett playing John Burwell, shooting away at him. And as soon as he shows up, I'm like, oh, he's the bad guy. As soon as he shows up, you got that mustache, you got the hair in the ponytail, and I'm just like, he's gonna be the bad guy. He's gonna be the bad guy. Right? And Roy hires him to help as a farmhand. He needs a job. I can't pay right now, but if the crop works, again, he's putting all his money on sunflowers. So I want to point out that they don't trust her, and what we find out later confuses me. That they're like, oh, I guess it's because John. Because, like, the first time we see that there's issues, and then she goes to grab the keys, and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, we're going to town. She goes, no, you're not. And then, like, the dad comes in and is like, hey, you ready to go? And she, like, throws the keys down. And he's like, what? She goes, I thought she was going to go in on her own. I'm like, well, you need to explain more than just, she should have said, Dad and I are going into town, not, they do go into town. That's where she meets Bobby. Dustin Milligan's character, Bobby. And this is the most useless character in this movie. You think he's going to be boyfriend guy, but then he appears like 2 more times in this movie, maybe? For nothing. Like he's here. I think she goes into town one more, and she meets him or something. Or maybe it's just, and then he comes by later, and then he's useless in the finale completely. But yeah, they go in to get the seed, the sunflower growing seed. I'm sorry, it's just stupid sunflower. Corn, rice, anything. Sunflower. I just don't know how you can make a living with sunflower. I'm not a farmer, so I wouldn't know. But also, I live in Minnesota, and I've been to Iowa before, and all I ever see, corn. Sometimes maybe rice, but a lot of corn. Corn. I've never once seen sunflower fields here. I guess they're in North Dakota, which is a little bit next to us, but still next and up. It's north, of course. She stays. John is also there, but she stays back to watch the kid. Which, once we get to the incident, I don't understand. I can only say because John is there. So, yeah. And after they leave, the ghosts come out to play. There is also a recurring thing where there's a stain on the wall, and the mom keeps having to clean it, but the stain keeps showing up. But anyway, so the kid follows this little tractor truck thing that they found. It leads to the basement, and then she's trying to find him, and then she goes to the basement door, yells for the kid. The kid's on the other side. She turns around, and these bad CGI ghosts grab her to pull her downstairs, but she gets away. Then the whole house erupts. Everything gets trashed. and she's freaking out. She calls 911, which is kind of smart, but like you said, she's like, something's in my house. And then she gets to the door as John is there and claims he doesn't see anything. And when she looks back in, everything is back to normal. Nothing bad has happened. And I'm just like, of course. Bad horror writing 101. Which is how you know Todd Farmer didn't write this. Because Todd Farmer has written other movies. He's written Jason X. He's written My Bad Valentine 3D. And you're saying he's not a bad horror writer? Shut up! Those movies are fun. This movie's not fun. This is standard horror 101. I'm surprised we didn't get a mirror scare or something. You know. Standard horror writing 101. Something happens, and then when someone tries to tell them, they don't believe him. And there's more than one reason now they don't believe her, because of the incident. Which again, once you find out what the incident is, it makes no sense, because it has nothing to do with lying. Well, a little bit, but not like this, right? And then she sees the ghost of the little boy, and that's where I see this little boy, and I go, that's Jodelle Ferland with a short hair wig on. And I look it up. Yeah, she's playing a boy. And she was 13 here, but they try to make her look like she's a toddler, because she's supposed to be the same age as the 3-year-old. We're close to it. I don't know. And she's attacked, right? She got these finger marks on her. And then the doctor goes to talk to the parents, and the doctor says, these looked as if they were self-inflicted. Like, fuck you, okay? And then they show what they are. I'm like, who can do that? What person can do that to their own body? How are those self-inflicted? If they were scratches, I could see. But they're indented finger marks on her hand and leg. It makes no sense. Bad writing for the bad horror movie, I guess. It just makes no sense. And of course they don't believe her. They think she's trying to get attention because of the incident. And again, nothing from this incident connects to anything in this, except maybe the little white lie she told. But technically, she just... We'll get to it. So after they get back home, she takes off again on a bike. And then she runs into Bobby, who takes her into town, because she sees the picture in the little locket that she found, and it reminds her of a picture she saw in town. So they go to look, and that's when she finds out about the Rollins family. This is the mother and the 2 children, and she notices John Rollins is John Burwell. And then this movie loses its fucking mind. Without any explanation. Like, well, first of all, Jess is talking to Bobby and explains the incident. 2 years ago, again, doesn't make any fucking sense because the kid looks like he's 1.5 years old. Anyway, 2 years ago, the parents were working late. Mom something, and she asked her to go pick up Ben from the daycare. And she said she'd do it, but what she didn't tell her was that she had been drinking with her friends. Okay. Bullshit. How old is this girl supposed to be? Alright, and I know teenagers, they drink all the time. But she can't be more than 16 years old in this movie. Supposed to be 16 years old. Which means that she's 14-year-old drinking? Yeah, I don't know. Also, if the incident was 2 years ago, why are the repercussions still going now? Because the whole thing was like, the medical bills that happened. There was a car crash, of course. Ben hasn't talked since the car crash, which is a staple of horror things. They do that in Supernatural. But, like, the kid hasn't talked since then, and I was like, wait, that's why the kid's not talking? I thought it was because he was a fucking baby. He's in a crib. And said 2 years ago, and he's like, so the kid has to at least be 3 then. Right? And so once they realized that it's that Burwell is John Rollins, she and Bobby decide to head back to the farmhouse. During this, the mom then sees the ghost of the dead mother, realizing Jess was telling the truth. And then outside the house, this is where everything just kind of... So, Roy, the dad, has driven after her, and he disappears for a little bit. And then John is attacked by a murder of crows, which knocks him unconscious. When he wakes up, he sees Denise, the mom, trying to leave the house, which somehow brings back the memories of the incident from the beginning of the movie. Yes, this evil unseen force was the dad the whole time. Called it. Yes. When they showed that, I'm like, yeah, you're a crappy horror movie and I figured you out from the beginning. Yes. And but the thing is, nobody but Jess and Bobby know about the Rollins family. It's not brought up to them at all. So he's just freaking out, calling her Mary, and she's confused. And there's no explanation to these people. There's no correlation. They don't know what's going on. He's just freaking out, saying, why are you leaving me? Why are you leaving me? And when Jess and Bobby show up, first of all, she makes the huge mistake of running and going, Mom, if you are suspecting that Burwell is going to do something bad, maybe don't run in screaming. Maybe be quiet. No, Burwell shows up and knocks out Bobby. Thanks for coming. You're not useful for the rest of the fucking movie now. Have a nice nap. And then Burwell chases her to the basement where she finds her mom and Ben. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't believe you. And I'm like, well, there's your story. Everything's full circle now. They're going to be happy as the family, isn't it? Roy returns from God knows where he was and immediately gets tries to find where they are. He gets to the basement too. Meanwhile, John starts asking Bobby where they went. Where'd they go, Bobby? Where'd they go? I'm like, how the hell did he know? You knocked him out before she left. What? You knocked him out before you chased her away. Why would he know where she went? I think that was John, or was that Dylan McDermott? By the way, Dylan McDermott, he's a good actor, but he's not giving it his all. Here's a point where he, like, the girl's trying to explain to him, he's like, that's enough! Don't you know what you put this family through? I'm like, oh, God. You can't do another take? Right? Oh, I mentioned the cigarette smoking, man. I thought he was going to have more in this than anything. Right? Because I assumed at first that the beginning of the movie, because it was in black and white, took place like 50 years earlier. And that he was the baby. Now all grown up to an old man. And there's a whole thing where he's trying to sell it to someone else. And he makes it look like that he knows something. But we never see him again. And it's like, why was he involved in this? Other than later when they have the argument, when he goes, I should have sold the farm. She's like, what? He said, oh, the guy came and said that there was someone else wanted to buy the farm and we'd get our money back plus 15%. I say, you didn't discuss this with me? And it's like, you're really hoping the sunflowers would do good. They are growing, I'll give you that. Anyway, Burwell stabs Roy with the pitchfork. He doesn't die somehow, and he goes after the others. Then this puddle of mud starts coming up behind him, and he gets knocked into the mud. I guess it is the symbol of his ghostly family is back. But he's not taken care of yet. He grabs her leg, Jess's leg, to pull her down in there. I also want to point out, air conditioner on, because it's very hot today. Muggy, yucky, yuck. So gotta have the air conditioner on. Sorry. So, tries to pull her away. Then the dad tries to pull her back, and he's like hurting because he got stabbed with a pitchfork. So he's like, and then the wife comes in. He's like, help! And they pull her out, and yeah. And he drowned. Burwell, I know his name. Burwell drowns. I think John Crute does a really good job as this sadistic person, and it's too bad they didn't bring him back for the prequel. It's Norman Reedus, so we'll see how he does. But they could have brought him back. Maybe they offered and he said no. Though, given as that as the prequel has nothing to do with the story from this movie, maybe it was a good thing. I don't know. It's like Amityville Horror 2. It's like that's supposed to be the DeFeo murders, but they couldn't use DeFeo, so they changed the name to Coscarelli or some shit. And it's like it's the same story, but they not really, but it's supposed to be that story, but it can't be because it can't use DeFeo. Anyway. So Roy is being taken into the hospital, an ambulance, and they kind of make up, and then we cut to everyone enjoying the harvest of the sunflowers and drinking lemonade, and everyone's happy. The kid is talking, and he's talking about there's no more crows, which is symbolized by the fact that the last 3 crow ravens look at her and then fly away, and she's like, it's over. And then here, after that was at the end of that, but here they're all having lemonade. The kid's talking. It's Purdy. And then Bobby's sitting there drinking lemonade because he is useless in this entire fucking movie. And yeah, they have the harvest. They're happy. Good for them. And there's sunflower seeds. Sunflowers. Okay. This movie is over. It's okay. It's the middle of the road. It's fine. It's certainly a bit better than I thought it was going to be. The first half hour of this movie goes nowhere. It's nothing. After the big opening thing that I figured out was was her husband, I'm just like, there's nothing until they go into town. Then everything just like there's like little bits and pieces. She finds that thing. They find the toy. And then, like, there's the thing on the stain on the wall. And then, as soon as they leave, everything just freaks out. And it's like, why did the ghost wait till everyone left but the 2 people, it's funny how they waited till everyone was out of the house, but the girl that no one would believe and the kid that can't talk. And let's discuss the ghosts. We're to believe that the ghosts in this house are the wife and the 2 children, who should not be evil. However, I will point out that they could be a malevolent haunting. Because of the tragedy that happened, they could be malevolent ghosts. Because of that, it's in the supernatural and all of it. Some dies. Tragically, they can become malevolent spirits, trying to get revenge, But here's the thing. I thought, so they're trying to do a Shining situation, but it's like, they never explain it in the movie, but according to Wikipedia, something happened after he killed his wife and kids to where he blocked it out. So he's just been roaming around, not really knowing who he is. He calls himself John Burwell. Inherently, Burwell is not a villain until after the crows knock him off. And it's almost as if there's some kind of evil at bay to do that. But like, are the crow ravens controlled by the ghosts of the wife and the kids? Because if that's the case, then do they invoke him to freak out? Or did he really have memory loss? And this knock on the noggin brought it back. Again, nothing is explained to anyone. Like Jess and Bubby are the only ones that know. Stop saying it like that. I refuse. Bubby. Jess and Bubby. You know I'm saying it like that, right? The luck of the Irish. You must be Bubby. So Jess and Bubby are the only ones that really know about the Rollins stuff. He starts freaking out, and the mom is so fucking confused she has no idea. There's no explanation. They don't even explain it afterwards, at least not on screen. It's like, yeah, and they don't explain what the ghosts, I'm assuming, are the wife and the kids, but there's no explanation as to why they're doing this, or why they're so malevolent, or why they choose to reach out when almost everyone is gone. The only thing I can think of is they're trying to warn Jess about John because he's the only one there, trying to protect them. But like, if you want them to know something's going on, why put all the stuff back after you scare her? Why only show up when the parents aren't around? And I'm not even gonna say why make it look like self-inflicted, because you cannot self-inflict those. The doctor that diagnosed those wounds as self-inflicted, it needs to be fired. They need her medical license taken away. She's a bad doctor. If anything, the mom should have suggested, do you think they could be self-inflicted? And even though the doctor might not think so, she'd be like, well, I think she's just doing it to get attention. The mom should be the one doing this, not some random doctor. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's the middle of the road. And now I gotta do the sequel, which I'll do later. Later. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on The Messengers? By the way, what does that mean? The name, The Messengers? Because remember, well, I'll get into it. That's not what the script was called. The script was called The Scarecrow. And they turned that into the prequel. But, like, why is it called The Messengers? Where were the messengers? The ghost of the wife and the kids? The Crow Ravens? But you could have just called it Ghosts of the Sunflower Farm, for all I care. The Messengers. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've been Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.